A super thanks to get today's Cowboys Report mailbag going from Mikey Montano. Thoughts on the Boise State bum? I'm Ryan with Micah, Osa, Diggs, and Overshown's thoughts. This is in reference to Tank Lawrence's comments. Look, very clear, if you didn't already know, there were issues between Micah and Tank, and I think leadership style and how they wanted to handle things. I don't remember what game it was. I think it was the Ravens game. There was that clip of Micah trying to step up and hey, let's do this, and Tank kind of just said, "Are you doing it? No, then stop," basically, which I was that's kind of a red flag. Look, I think there's a lot of right and wrong going on here. Tank is not being truthful when he says, "I went to Seattle to win a Super Bowl." You took the money, Tank. That comment was 2 weeks removed from him saying he wanted to stay in Dallas. So come on. Let's be honest here. I think many of you would agree with the fact that you'd like to have it just be football focused and not with the podcast stuff with Micah. Until they win a Super Bowl, he's never going to beat the podcast Parsons allegations. Fair or not, that's how it is going to go. Should be kind of telling that a lot of the different players kind of hopped in support of Micah. But look, there's a lot of ego involved there, and they just didn't get along, and now things gone. The guy that didn't get along with him, one of them's gone. So in theory, problem solved. From Jim, a super thanks that just says thanks. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate any and all super thanks here on the Cowboys Report. It's a feature on YouTube. It's like a super chat, but on demand. Edit your message, send in whatever, and we'll give you a shout out on the show because we appreciate your support. Eric Ramsey. Can you count Gronk as taking a year off and then being stud or still good? This is about the maybe not signing Gallup. The comment I'd made was, when was the last time a player unretired, and came back and was good? Eric's got it right. It was Gronk. That's one of the outliers there. Mighty Ant 0215. They draft well, but then pan out like C. They don't want to pay him. So when they are due, WTF. And Thomas was only an early pick, rest second round grades. Fish trying to push that point of view. It is funny to see the Cowboys sign a bunch of former first round picks, but this is also true. A lot of those picks, Peyton Turner was not a first-round grade for Dallas. I don't think Kenneth Murray was a first-round grade. He might have been on that fringe. Solomon Thomas, I think, was a first-round grade. But everyone else is kind of further down that first-round, second-round grade conversation. Second-round grades and a little bit later. But it was guys they liked coming out of the draft. They're trying to buy low on those. And then, it is a consistent trend of not paying your best guys early to save money. CJ, this was in reference to me saying a backup quarterback should learn from Dak. What's he learning from Dak? How to be a hack? Thanks. CJ later clarified that he was just mad at the Jones boys, which I get. I totally get that. I think there actually are things you can certainly be worried about with Dak Prescott. The playoff success is one of them. That's a team thing in part, but he's good with the Cowboys. He gets blamed there too. My biggest concern, the injuries. It's been several years he's missed time with injuries. He's not getting any younger. Some of them fluke, but, if you have a bunch of fluke injuries in a row, we're kind of on that range of you can have the is Dak Prescott injury-prone conversation. That's my biggest concern. Because if he's hurt, you're in big trouble there. So overall, knowing this will be a not fun conversation, but extreme levels, what's your concern level over Dak Prescott? 1 to 10 is your scale. I'm at a 4 with all the injury stuff, but let me know in the comments. 1, factoring in injury stuff. 1 to 10, the outcomes here on YouTube. Take advantage. Go vote at the pinned comment. For Mark, we have about 6 big guys we play whether they deserve the money or not. Do we have no cap space via Jerry Jones? Huge gap in quality between them and the rest of the guys. The overall trend I've noticed from this Cowboys team is they have the big 6, right? They almost always have those guys, those top of the market guys. It used to be Tyron Smith and Zach Martin and Zeke Elliott. Now there's new guys coming in. It's Tank Lawrence in there. Now it's Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb and, in theory, Tyler Smith and DeRon Bland and Micah Parsons and Dak. Those guys always stay. And then the Cowboys aren't as aggressive as a team like Philadelphia is in that second tier of, that 10 to 20 range among your roster. And they kind of the middle class gets kind of squeezed a little bit. And the Cowboys this offseason have added a bunch of depth. They've added talent from that 35 to 53 range on the roster. but they haven't addressed like 1 to 25. And that's where I have my issues with the offseason. Jetwolf 90. I know it'll never happen, but the Steelers offer a three firsts, a 2026 second, and 2/3 and George Pickens. Will that somehow make Dak live with or Jerry live with trading Dak? If QB, I don't know if QB an issue, could you tank for Arch? I mean, I think that's like how you would be fine moving it. Like I would be very surprised if 3 1s, a 2, 2 3s, and a player actually happened in a trade. That's so much to give up. I would be honestly shocked. Like, I'm like, sure, I'll take the 3 1s. Like, that's how you jumpstart a rebuild, and you tank for insert quarterback here, Arch, Garrett Nussmeier, whatever. Like, I think they would consider doing that. I don't think Pittsburgh would actually consider doing that. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It is available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. I always advise the flex play. You can get one wrong and still cash out. Prize Picks invented the flex play, by the way. Some football season-long Prize Picks, less than on Jared Goff passing yards. Could be regression here for Detroit. Kelsey, less than receiving yards. He's getting old now. And Jaden Daniels, less than rushing yards as well. Download the Prize Picks app today over at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. CJ, a $5 super chat. We talk a lot about the hole at running back. How's the O-line, though? Will they be able to block for him? In theory, 2 things happen to your offensive line. Number 1, your young guys take a natural step forward. And remember, this is actually a very young offensive line. Everyone but Terrence Steele is really on their first contract still. It's a very young unit. And that next step is elevated by better coaching. That the combination of Clayton Adams, who always seemed to maximize his O-lines in Arizona compared to the presumed talent level, and the addition of Connor Riley from Kansas State leads to better results, specifically probably with your tackles, Guyton and Steele, and you kind of change your run game schematics, which I didn't like the past couple seasons, which I think they will be changing things, and that gets better results as well. So instead of like going from you got 5s across the offensive line, now you're dropping in a 10 in terms of talent, you're adding 1 to 2 with the scheme, the coaching, and just general growth. In theory, it's better. It is theory. And if you have concerns about it, I think that's valid. From Godfather Cards, Sixers? Boy, sorry, buddy. Should we draft Tyler Warren if he falls to us? From my board perspective, he'd be one of the best guys on there. He would be right up there he's a top 10 player, I think, in the class. If he's there at 12, you have to consider it. The downside is that's a luxury pick. And does this team think they can afford a luxury pick, even if it is a playmaker, which they do need? From Maximili, thanks for Max. What do you think about Elijah Moore? Only 24 years old. Is he Robin to your Batman? I think Dallas could sign him. Elijah Moore is a nice receiver. Now, he and I also discussed, and he mentioned, still drafting somebody's not sure which in that scenario I'm on board with. I don't want to, of all the receivers, Keenan Allen, as of filming that are available, film this on Monday, obviously, Keenan Allen, Lockett, Amari, Diggs, Elijah Moore, I think those are your top guys. I don't want that guy I signed to probably a 1-year deal to stop me from drafting a receiver if the right guy is there. I want it to be, okay, I don't have to force the wide receiver pick. I don't think Elijah Moore is, I'll go full nerd here, I don't think he's like Dick Grayson Robin. He's like Damian Wayne Robin, which just isn't as good. But it's better than, no Robin. So name a receiver. That's very nerdy, and I don't apologize for it, actually. Name a receiver who you want to add draft or free agency-wise. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Eric Ramsey, how much cap is left? News on Keenan Allen. Who do you want Dow to sign with? Who's left? Thanks. If PrizePicks is today's sponsor, I'll do a slate. There you go, Eric. Got you covered. Keenan Allen, pretty quiet. Again, this might make me look very stupid in like a day, but I wonder if some of these older receivers are going to wait until as long as possible / look for a different path of like, let's be patient, see if we get more money after the draft, or if there's teams that need a receiver still. That could be in play because at that age, injury history stuff, those things kind of begin to have an option there. Look, I think receiver, corner, and if you can go get a nose guard, not a great group, those stand out to me. Cap-wise, as of filming, I don't have all the contract details yet. Again, as of Monday afternoon / evening, Brian Anger, Israel Mukuamu, Jack Sanborn, the true Dante Fowler details. I think I'm leaving somebody off too. Israel Mukuamu, I mentioned Izzy. All don't have the actual contract details. Now, my guess is those have very minimal salary cap impact. So you're kind of staring on the barrel of 33, 34, maybe even 35-ish million dollars. Plenty of money available still. I'm just going to go with Munoz, otherwise I'm going to butcher it. I'm very sorry. If Genty and McMillan are gone and Warren falls 12, would Dallas draft a tight end? Is there a corner that they like? Is Will Johnson there? Do they actually violate their own rules and draft Jahdae Barron with the arm length concerns? Like I think they would consider Tyler Warren because I think that is just he might be the best player on their board. Now the issue is you're probably going to move Ferguson at some point. That's fine. At the end of the world. Gives you a different type of maybe you do more 12 personnel. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I just wonder if the Cowboys would value the tight end angle there. Now, to be a part of the mailbags, you got to be subscribed. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. From Ratio, $2. How about Tyler Booker at 12 to replace Zach Martin? If you think Booker's the best lineman left and you have a high grade on him, sure. I don't have Booker as a first-round grade. I know there will be multiple different players, probably multiple even offensive linemen potentially, that I have over Booker when the Cowboys are on the clock at 12, so that's not how I have him graded. Mark's comped me to Alfred. Okay. There's no Batman without Alfred, so I'm fine with that. From Just Sell the Team, what's your worst-case draft scenario? I mean, ignoring like they take a player I'm just not high on, which sometimes I'm wrong and sometimes I'm right. That's how the draft goes. You're never going to be 100%. Never forget my meltdown, which I wasn't even live for, thank God, for the Nashawn Wright pick. Because I hopped off to get set up for the cut. I melted down in the office. I was like, this is so stupid. And sometimes I'm wrong. They were right on Tyler Smith. Thank God. I think that the worst case scenario is like they wait on a position of need, whether that's receiver or maybe corner or running back. Running back kind of makes the most sense in this scenario. Thinking that they can get someone in the third round or something, or the fifth round, and all the guys they like go off the board. And that just kind of ruins it for them. So kind of coming off that mindset, who do you not want the Cowboys to pick? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. From Luke, with T-Mac running the 4-4s, I doubt he falls to 12. I'll say this. I don't think he actually ran in the 4-4s. We'll wait till Dane's numbers come out, because I know Schultz posted 4.48. That was straight from the agent. Albert Breer's got 4.54, 4.55, and 4.57. So I think mid 4.5 is kind of who he is still. I don't think, frankly, whatever Tet really ran should change your mindset that much. I think that's kind of who he is. So I think he might be there. Not a guarantee, but he might be there. Unimpressed with Burden's production against more athletic teams like Bama, where athletic disparity can't carry him. Thoughts? How much of that was Burden's fault and just his quarterback's play? Like I didn't like the quarterback play from Luther Burden. I think that's a valid complaint, but receiver production is also heavily tied to quarterback play, even though some, not saying this is you, Luke, but some people just like don't want to acknowledge that. They just like choose to ignore it, which is kind of crazy to me. For Mark, I'd pay $10 million for Puna. Another guy lost. He's great insurance. Reminds me, it drives me nuts. We need a free agent receiver. Can't stand Dak, but he needs help. I think regardless how I feel about Dak, this is true. You need to get more help. Brandon Cooks was not wrong when he said the organizational help has to be better. Now, if we did not get to your question here on the Cowboys Report, that is okay. We'll do more live shows. We'll do more mailbags. My DMs are also open. Hit me up on Twitter at whatgoingdowning.